Coming up on My Vancouver. Learn when to cobble or not to cobble. Discover what this instrument can really do. We've got a cinnamon showdown because clearly not all buns are created equal. And even this museum has a secret to share. Hi and welcome to My Vancouver. I'm your host Mia Jagpal here at the Roundhouse Community Center. Now I can admit that I've got a bit of a shoe obsession, so much so that I've got two closets at home, one for clothes and the other for shoes. And when you have as many pairs as I do, you learn to have a shoe cobbler as your best friend. In this week's Faces and Places segment, we catch up with one to find out more about this age-old profession.
I've been working in shoe repair for nearly 40 years. From small stitching to small patching to major rebuilds and conversions, orthopedic work, specialty repairs from tap shoes to snowshoes to rock climbing shoes, you name it. It's hard to learn this craft because there's no longer any schools or courses you can take in North America. There are some schools in Europe. They focus mostly on shoemaking and orthopedics. You can only learn this as an apprentice at a shoe repair shop. Well, here in Vancouver, the shoe problems here in Vancouver usually have to do with water. So there's a lot of water damage that we see on shoes and you know, in the winter, snow and salt damage and so on. And yeah, I would say most shoe repairs are regular wear and tear, seams broken, holes worn through the soles or the upper. There's a lot of problems with dogs and puppies where they play with your shoes and leave marks or cut your shoes open. So when customers bring in their shoes, they come across this counter, we write them up a work order, and then they go into a box onto this rack. When the rack is full, we wheel the rack into the back, and that's where the repairs start. So if you follow me, when we start repairing shoes, first they usually need to be taken apart. We take them apart and then we clean them up. Usually use some sanders with that. The parts that are glued, they dry here on this rack. When the glue is completely dry, it needs to be reactivated either here under these lights or in the oven so it gets nice and warm. The glue becomes sticky and then we're going to put it together. When the two parts are together, the shoe and the soles or heels, it needs to be pressed together because the glue will stick to each other. The two parts of the glue will stick to each other only under high pressure. We put the shoe on here upside down, slide it under here, and then we press the sole onto the shoe. Once that's done, the shoe is more or less together, and then it ends up on this rack with shoes more or less half repaired, and then the finishing part happens on the other side of the shop. I think working with your hands is therapeutic. The proof is that I enjoy running my business and I sit behind my desk about half the time, but I need to get away and work with my hands the other half of the time. Otherwise it's going to drive me nuts. I got into this business because I like to work with my hands. There's enough variety and enough challenges in this industry and in my business that it's interesting enough to stick with it.